Okay guys, here we go. It's a big one. This is Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a Divine Masculine Twin Flame read for you. It is July 20th, 2019. The 20 is all about the Judgment card, the call to action, making announcements. The day adds up to 39-3, which is the Knight of Cups, but it's also about the 3 of self-expression, being authentic to yourself, being abundant, Gaia, Mother Nature, as well as siblings, socializing, and just coming together in general. So the Knight of Cups, of course, is about offering love, but making sure you're sincere when you do it, authentic to yourself. And the Judgment is really all about just making decisions. It's the 20, it's the 2 of the High Priestess with Source contained behind the High Priestess. So it's giving you an extra oomph to make those big decisions. So we have love and judgment today, about making decisions about love. 2019. So it starts off with my meditation last night when I went to bed. So I left off on my notes at 101 last night, so I went to bed late. But 101 and the Dalmatians were coming up again, so I wanted to remember to tell you that. So I went to bed and I did a meditation I've never done before. It was called Let Go Manifest Meditation. I think it was around 2 hours. I don't know if it was exactly 2 hours. But as soon as I started this meditation, I saw literally 3 wise men stand up and applaud me. And then they did again. They gave me a standing ovation. And I asked, did I do something correct? Was this my graduation? And then the sexual energy was really coming in. It was really intense last night. I really didn't get to sleep until after 3 a.m. And when I saw these guys, it was 3:16 a.m. Actually, it was the Empress and the Tower, right? So suddenly, abundance coming in. And it was funny because then my mail, I looked down at my mail and it hit, and it shouldn't be this much. I have so much cleaning out of my mail to do. But my mail hit 14144, literally. So 2 angels and the 144. And that was at 8:55 this morning. And so I checked the email I got that hit 14144. And it was actually Lynn's email from Twin Flames. I've known Lynn for a couple years now, but I haven't talked to her in a while. So I emailed out her that. I don't know if she's still using that email, but it was pretty cool that it came out 14144. So with the Empress and the Tower, a sudden event. And then yesterday I'd shown you guys in the cards that I pulled after the read for you, the Emperor, the Hierophant, and the Justice card came up, you know, and they're all really big and red and powerful, very much about the patriarchy, and I was showing you that. And then I showed you how it was like the Monkees were coming up, like here we come, walking down the street, all right? So that came up, and it's coming back again today, and that was at 9:33 a.m. I showed them as the Monkees, and the monkey do, monkey see, monkey do, as I'm losing my voice. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And I told you that I had the 3 monkeys by my door, actually with a picture of my dad. And my parents had the 3 big monkeys at their home, which I forgot to tell you. Those 3 big monkeys, since my parents' home doesn't exist anymore, are now at my sister's home, which ties in for me now. So as soon as I started, before I even started doing my read today, my dad was coming in, because when I was getting the congratulations, the standing ovation, even though it didn't look exactly like my dad, I was getting the energy that it was my dad as one of them. And then I got confirmation of that. So, and the 3 monkeys were definitely confirmation as well, realizing I was seeing my sister's house in the cards this morning, and the 3 monkeys came up again. Also parties and cooking was coming up. Someone trying to please someone they can't please will burn out. Some other random energies that were coming up. Also, I was getting my sister's house in the 6 of Cups, which is Pisces energy, but about this, you know, the children in the garden, the 6 of Cups. And was that upright today? can't remember for some reason. Where are you? Where did you go? Whatever I'm looking for, I can never find. So I always then say, okay, just show me where you are. Now I just did that, and now I see it. Okay, so it was reversed. There's a lot of reverse cards today, but in a very interesting twist. So you're going to love this. There's a lot of stuff that came through. George Harrison came through, the Beatles and the Monkees. So here we go with that. So I awoke at 9:06 this morning, and I immediately got 369, which is also parallels 333. And then when I pulled the numerology cards today, not the first three, which it was three that are out on the table, but the second three came up again, and I showed these to you another day. I don't know if it was the same three yellow ones, but the three yellow numerology cards came out again. You see the numbers, 333 and 369, all right? And I thought the 369 when I woke up this morning was before I pulled these cards. And these are creativity, parenting, and happy ending, which have the gold, darker blue, and then the purple colors here. So it's definitely about the solar plexus, and then the throat and third eye chakras, or even up to the crown. So throat to crown area, 93, 63, and 369, which represents also the 3D 45D. So that was definitely coming up. And of course the Trinity with the 333. And I'm sure there's something else I'm not thinking of right now, but if it comes up, I'll let you know. So that was important coming up. So I woke up and I felt like I didn't sleep enough, but it wasn't terrible. I didn't get quite 6 hours sleep, but that's not the worst. But I felt drained. My eyes felt like I had been crying, but I wasn't crying last night. So I don't know if the masculine was doing something. I've been also feeling, kind of weird feelings in the crotch area, like, weird heat or infection type energies. And there's nothing wrong with me. But so I don't know if the masculines are dealing with any kind of infection issues in their sexual areas, but definitely some stuff came up with that. And I want to bring it up. And it's definitely come up verbally with others recently as well. So that's definitely coming up to be transmuted. So with those cards, and then going to sleep last night, around 3:30, I probably went to sleep, which is that 33 again, which is the Christ vibration. And it's also the 7 of Wands, standing up for yourself without being defensive or reacting. Here we come walking down the street, bum, bum. Okay, and then the little drummer boy was coming up as well, but we have the Monkees again that I told you about coming down the street yesterday. Then I was getting red, 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 or yellow, 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 or orange, 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 and I was getting fake tan or jaundice, the orange, orange, orange. So you notice this is all the lower chakra energy of the patriarchy coming through, and the little drummer boy, the divine masculine, amidst all of these power players, okay? So then I was outside this morning, and the bee was busy. And I got some bee pictures that showed the bee above my deck, but there was a shadow. So I was getting the bee in his shadow, like me and my shadow. That was at 9:24 to 25, which is the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Wands. The bee and their shadow, right? So that's Queen Bee of the Queen of Wands and their shadow, the masculine, walking down the avenue. And then when I'd gotten God, Metatron, and Michael the other day, it was all about Thunder Road and Sweet Revenge, right? So Thunder Road was Metatron, and Sweet, or Saint, ST, Sweet Revenge, was coming up for Michael, because he was the lightweight, and Metatron's the heavyweight. And I know some of you are going to come back and say, but Michael's a heavyweight. Well, that's what Metatron's trying to get his point across. You think Michael's big, you should see me. That's what he's saying, all right? So the three coming up, initially when those three came up, now I was getting for sure was not just Metatron and Michael, but God, Metatron, Michael. So the mother, father energy, Metatron and Michael all coming up together. And then when the street and road stuff was coming up again today, I was getting, because I couldn't think of the album cover where they're walking across the street for the Beatles, and it's Abbey Road. So I was getting Saint Abbey Road. They were bringing that through so I'd remember Abbey. So George Harrison came up right away because I was getting George of the Jungle, and I've had that multiple times this week, so it was obviously George Harrison trying to come through. When I looked it up online, the first song to appear, I wasn't sure because I didn't know that much about George Harrison, like which were his songs and that kind of thing. So when I looked it up, the top entry was from dailymelody.com. The first song, 1969, to appear on the A side of the Beatles single written by George Harrison. The only song by him released on a single where the other side was Come Together. So Abbey Road and Come Together, that was his song, Abbey Road. And there was another quote from the BeatlesBible.com that says under their name, not quite as popular as Jesus, referring to the Beatles. So I noted that George and Patty Harrison, his wife, move in. There was a headline, move into Friar Park. And then Tony Clar, Claar, it was his article, not quite as popular as Jesus. A quote from 1965 at the height. Truly a love affair, he wrote. In essence, the passion was volcano hot. Many people had left the church, literally. The Beatles was a religious experience, and he used the word bliss, which was pretty cool because he's referencing the Beatles to Jesus, and then bliss. I was getting George Michael too. So George Michael, maybe, I was remembering him this morning, but I forgot to write it down. But George Michael's definitely coming down since George and Michael's names are right next to each other on my page. So he's coming up as well. A lot of times Spirit will bring up musicians or just famous people in general who maybe didn't get the props that they deserved. And some of that came up as well again today, so I'm going to tell you all of that. So George Harrison, February 25th, 43 to November 29, 2001 is when he passed in LA. And I noticed of the date of death that I was writing down today, his, and then John Lennon came up, of course, with George, was born October 9th, 40, and died 12/8/80, which was in New York City. So we have LA and New York, and then my father came up with them, and my father passed away in Philadelphia. And I'll get to that in a minute, but you see these three major cities coming up, New York, LA, and Philadelphia, so there's some significance there. So George Harrison, his first wife was Patty, that was 66 to 77, which was kind of interesting, the dates of those years, and then Olivia was 78 to 01. George Harrison was considered the quiet one, like the Meek or the twins. He died of lung cancer in LA. So in continuing with that article that guy was writing about the Beatles, we were in love. Truthfully, John was right on, totally. Right on, John. We still love you madly. We miss you terribly. So that was a message from George to John, but John's coming through with George as well. So that was it was like George wanting to give John more props again because so many people miss him so much. And at that point, I literally cried. I mean, tears were coming up, not because I was feeling sad, but they were coming through. It was so powerful and beautiful. Major connection with John and George, and the tears. They're making me want to cry again. But it was an article Monday, May 6, 2019, about the Beatles. And I wrote that down. The connection in tears was at 9:57 to 58, which was very interesting because the read was done at 10:57 to 58, all right? But I also wrote down 55, 56, 57, 58, so they're all important because it's the Ace of Swords, the Two of Swords, Three of Swords, and Four of Swords, all right? So that's important. From information from en.wikipedia.org, Abbey Road, 12 times platinum by RIAA, so the Archangels comes up again with RI, so Rhode Island might be coming up as well. But RIAA in 2001, which of course was the year that the towers were hit, which is just coming up now. So again, whenever I bring this stuff up, they're bringing up more wounds to clear. It also wrote here that in Japan, so Japan in the Olympics comes up again, was one of the longest charting albums to date for the Beatles, remaining the top 100 for 298 weeks during the 1970s. June 1970, Alan Klein reported Abbey Road, best-selling U.S. album, sales around 5 million. And then from loudersound.com, there was information about the four Beatles. The street where the picture was taken of them walking across Abbey Road, the street was taken outside Abbey Road in North London, taken by Macmillan, one of 6 shots, so we're giving props to the photographer, 10 a.m. on 8/8/1969, powerful date. So Lionsgate, 1969, which is also, and I'm getting connection right now, the Ace of Pentacles, which is also the year that we first landed on the moon. And I remember that, I was 8 years old. There you go again, the 8. So George and John both played the Fender V1 or 6 with Paul on piano or guitar, so he was the front man, right, and they were backing him up. George photographed at Abbey Road in 1966, so now with double sixes here, playing right-handed Red Burns' new sonic bass during Paperback Writer and Rain. So Rain was also coming up. Rain Man, Rain on Me has been coming up a lot lately in the reads, but during those recording sessions. So let's see, was there anything else up top here? I was also noticing that Clarksville came up again in here, and that's the second time, which I never think of Clarksville. I don't know where that is. It came up today and yesterday, and also the last train came up twice today. Yeah, so there's a picture that I saw of John with round glasses, remind me of my dad, which was weird because they don't look alike, but he was wearing round glasses, and there was a time where my dad was wearing round glasses, and they had this, I noticed they had the same nose profile from the front, and maybe I'll show that to you if I don't know how well it'll come up on here, but I noticed that I have a picture of my dad with the man I think is his father, because my grandfather wasn't his biological father, and we didn't know that until about 10 years ago. So I found a man online who I believe is my father's father, but he's got the same nose profile, but so does John. So they were coming up together. I'll have to show you the picture, hold on. If I can find it. Oh, it's gonna be hard to see. You can't really see my dad and his dad too well, but you can see John. So I don't know if you can see, but you can see, I don't know if you're going to see what I was seeing, but all 3 of them, not the one, my son is there on the right side, you can ignore that, but my dad, and who I think was his dad, is up above, which is kind of hard to see because it's shadowy, but they all had the same kind of nose profile from the front, and there was a reason they were showing that to me. Not sure why yet, but there will be a reason. So the picture of John with the round glasses reminded me of my dad, which we called him Saba. That's just my parents had a couple of different names. My mom's grandparents used Greek names. They weren't Greek, but they just liked, my grandfather, my mom's father, was a doctor. He was a pediatrician, and he liked Yaya and Papuli, so we called them that. And then my parents decided, even though they weren't religious or from Israel, that they wanted to be called Saba and Savta. So Saba was coming up, but also Abba was coming up with that, and Abbey. So again, Abbey Road. Dad, John, and George, and by the way, my uncle, cousin, and grandfather are George. So Dad, John, and George were coming up kind of in a play on words. The 3 men I admired the most, and it's really my dad coming through, joking with me, because he was into classical music, so the Beatles, you know, wouldn't have been that big a deal for him. Sorry, John and George. I'm sure he doesn't mean that. So, but he's playing with me because it'd be funny for me to think of my dad with John and George up there, right? So Dad, John, and George, 3 men I admired the most, caught the last train for the coast the day the music died, because they were all such wonderful major legends, including my dad, John and George. And they were including my father in that, and they wanted me to know that. So they drove the the Chevy to the levee, right? Which was so cool. That was confirming my dad again, because he had a Chevy Camaro at one point, which I inherited when it was about 10 years old, so it was falling apart by that time. But it was just my dad confirming that it was him, right? So drove the Chevy to the levee, and levee's been coming up this week too, about the support, right? It's a lift. But the levee was dry. There was no support. Singing, "This'll be the day that I die." So that was coming up. I wasn't sure if he was trying to give me a message about my mother, but there was definitely information that was important there. And then right after that, I saw something about Margaret Thatcher, and I'd just seen the movie the other day, so I knew it was important, and it was literally listed Ma T, and Ma has come up in the codes like 2 or 3 times at least this week, and it never comes up like that. So Ma T is Margaret Thatcher, was so warm, you can see it in her eyes, and this was by Gabrielle Crawford, photographer. She was a friend of the daughter, I believe, but she had taken a spread of her at Downing Street, number 10, I was writing Dawn as well, but number 10 Downing Street, and that was bringing up Delta Dawn again, and Triangle came up again. Favorite blue window and overlooking the garden was Margaret Thatcher. And the photographer was saying she was so warm you could see it in her eyes. A very jolly session. And she was saying, "I won't come out, you know." The celebrity photographer reveals the life living with John Lennon and slapping down Thatcher by Jane Warren. That was the article by Jane Warren. So Dad, John Lennon. So I was also getting with the noses too. My twin probably has that same profile as well. So that was kind of interesting there. So I cut the deck. The Syrian starseed deck in front of you at 10:39. 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, 39 is that Knight of Cups again. And I had just picked up my iPad and saw the meditation picture that I did last night, and the picture was of a moon and a shooting star, which reminded me, I just took the other day, of the sun with a plane trail, like a shooting star across the sun. So it was reflecting that for me, which was very cool. And it had 39 comments on it, so it was reiterating the 39 of the Knight of Cups again. And also some of the views and likes were coming up 57. So the 3 of Swords, right? The three-way heartbreak, third-party situation, and number 55 again was coming up as the Ace of Swords, the truth, which comes up significant today as well. So then from enwikipedia.org, the Monkees I had to look up because I talked about the Beatles, but we started off with the Monkees. So what was it about the Monkees? And the Monkees were spelled with 2 E's, E-E-S, which is actually my initials, which is funny. But the monk keys were coming up this week, so it's all about the key of the monk, the hermit, right? The wisdom of going within. And so I had to look up the Monkees, of course, which was 66 to 71, Mickey Dolenz, Michael Nesmith, Peter Tork, and Davy Jones, which I totally forgot their names and everything. But I was, of course, everyone at that time had a crush on like Davy Jones because he was so cute. The series was 66 to 68, the TV series. And the music was initially produced by Don Kirshner, songwriting by Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart. So I guess I'm called to give them props because they probably didn't get the credit they deserved. The Monkees broke up 71 and then returned for a series of reunions and new records. And Davy died February 12th and Peter Tork died February 19th. So you see all these Februaries. Both George and John were born, no, John was in October. I think someone else. Who was the other one? Anyway, I was getting multiple February births or deaths coming up here. So both Davy and Peter Tork had died in February, but George was born in February. So it's kind of like showing us the polarization of the Beatles and the Monkees, and I'll tell you why in a second. So they had 75 million records worldwide. And then it said The Last Train to Clarksville. And it was so strange because Last Train to Clarksville, one of the titles of their songs was Clarksville came up, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Also Pleasant Valley Sunday came up. So there may be a Pleasant Valley in Clarksville. There may be a place you want to visit or move to. Daydream Believer and I'm a Believer were two of their songs as well. The newspaper reported they outsold the Beatles and Rolling Stones combined in 1967, 67 being the Knight of Pentacles, the loyal servant. But Nesmith admitted later that in his autobiography, Infinite Tuesday, and you notice Infinite Tuesday, that it was a lie he had told a reporter, that they hadn't beat out the Beatles and Rolling Stones combined in 1967. So I don't know what the truth was. I mean, obviously they were a big hit. But I think that lie needed to come out again, and that was coming out because of the Monkees I'm connecting with here, because Davy and Peter have passed, and I'm getting connection. Okay, and so they want you to know that Nesmith admitted himself that he was the one who told that lie, okay, and apologizing in a way to the Beatles at this time. Okay, so Davy was also nominated for a Tony Award, Best Actor in a Musical in 1963, and it was hard to understand the way they wrote it, but I think it was Oliver on Broadway. So it wasn't just about music and even acting on TV, but he was already an established actor before he went into this show as the Monkees. Okay, so a lot of information from enwikipedia.org. So as I turned the page, it's 11:11, and I had to go to the bathroom. And it took a bit, and I was wondering why, because I usually have no problem going to the bathroom. Not that you need to know, but it was part of the message coming through here. So it was about birthing a baby bumblebee, but also I was guided to look in the tag of my pants, and it was bringing up Sri Lanka and fabrication, falsifications, the Monkees lie, which I just told you about. And in there was also a code M170/72A. And so we have Ma again, okay? So Ma comes up again in here, so we'll get to that in a second, but the 170 and 72 was coming up for me because it's the 72 is the date I met my twin, but also the ones and sevens and twos that always come up for union, and 170 came up 72. And if you switch that around, it came up in 2017, so I was wondering the significance of that, because we're now 2 years from that point. And I was wondering what I did 2 years ago, so you might want to look back in July of 2017 to see exactly what you were doing if you have notes from then. So the 2-year anniversary in birthing the baby bumblebee, the Ma with the stinger, and someone may be named B, or someone's birthing a baby, a mother, with a big stinger, okay? So 1107-08 came up for the birthing after struggling a bit. 1967 to 68 was the lie, when the lie was out about the monkey sales. So I searched Monkees Sri Lanka fabrication, and the things that came up were cakes, and this was from thefab.lk, the Fab Sri Lanka, and the telephone number was 0112-057777. Oh, and I want to tell you that too. When I was with my friend the other day, I might have told you this already, we were behind license plates 00007, and then right after that 0006, and I never see 0 license plates, so that was pretty cool. So lots of 7s coming up. Also Sri Lanka, Ceylon, baby monkey, Toke, macaque, or macaca, that monkey was coming up. It was a YouTube where it was such a cute little monkey. The monkey kept responding to the name Raju. There were 22,220 subscribers on that, and that was from October 30, 2013. And then the views and likes. I think it's called Macaca Sanaka also. There's different names for the monkey, but it's a reddish-brown monkey, old world, and I'm getting the reference because the Monkees are referencing themselves to the description of this monkey. locally known as Rilua or Rilawa, and the monkey or Sinhala, hence Rillo, for the tongue, where is it? The toque-shaped whirl of the hair on their head. They kind of like had an umbrella, like bonnet on their head. So that is describing the Monkees and the Beatles, because they wore that bowl haircut back then. The monkey lives in troops up to 20, which is very judgmental, the 20. The high priestess with source support lives in troops of 20, so they're coming through describing you guys as the twins. 3 subspecies, the 3 waves, medium-sized monkeys, but smallest of macaca living. They were 14 to 24 inches, so 14 is, of course, the temperance card in the angels, and the 24 is Omega, the end of the Greek alphabet, but also the Queen of Wands, the karmic cycle. The 16 to 24-inch tail, 16 is the tower, right, and the 24 again. And then the masculine was heavier at 9 to 19 pounds, at the Hermit and the Sun, and the feminine was much smaller at 5.1, or the King of Swords, to 9.9. All right, that's 2 hermits next to each other as far as pounds. Found at Cultural Triangle, these monkeys, many ancient temples there, which was why they called them the temple monkeys. Only live in Sri Lanka, and they like the 6,000-foot elevation. They're omnivores. They are human crop raiders, because the humans take over their territory. Leopards and fishing cats and python are the main predators. So it's telling you who's attacking the masculine, basically, or the angels. So we have the black cats, leopards and fishing cats, and python, and a snake that will strangle you and smother you. Endangered rainforest cut down for logging and farming, and that's why the monkeys have issues, and they're in danger of being extinct. Okay, like the angels. So the different things that came up besides Sri Lanka was Fab Beatles, and I didn't put the Beatles in. Beatles came in here. Fab Beatles, when I was putting in the Monkees. 11-19-10 was an interview in Sri Lanka with a group that was, like to do Beatles stuff. They like to mimic them. So that was just prior to a gig that they were doing, the Fab Beatles. If you want to check them out, I didn't really watch it, but that was coming up for a reason. Then the Blue Monkees were also coming up, which is a blog that rates hotels, restaurants, shows that they've been to in London. So if you're interested, check them out, Blue Monkees. And that was Monkees with 2 E's. Then aluminum fabrication in Sri Lanka came up. That was altmatech.lk, or excuse me, alumatech.lk, A-L-U-M-A-T-E-K, just like aluminum, okay, .lk. And then anandafabrications.com came up, and that's under Ananda Fab, ANANDHAFAB.com. Their fabrications also came up. They've been in business since 1983, and they had claimed to have 45 years experience. So they may be really good for fabrication, so you might want to check them out. But it was also bringing up fabrication again for me about the false information and the masculine and how it's going to come out in the read. So 1146, the birds and the bees came up, the monkeys and the apes, the BB, the Better Business Bureau I was just getting, and then Ma came up again, MA. And that could be Massachusetts as well. It can be several things, but I'm getting Ma. Also then 1147, I was getting clowning around, and again that references to the Monkees, and the gilded cards that came out today, clowning around. The Fool was upside down, so that was the Monkees clowning around. Then at 1151, which is the King of Swords, the 8 of Flames, I was getting Circus Flamethrower there, because in this Sirian Starseed deck, the 8 of Flames is just a circle, but it looks like the shutter of a camera or your eye, the way it goes out and in, to control how much light gets in. So that was significant. And also I noticed my left earlobe's been itching a lot from where my earring is. It's from the dragonfly earrings, so that may be significant as well, the dragonflies, but it's probably just from the metal that was used, but there's a reason why it's my left ear and not the right. So there may be infections going on in the left, which could be a feminine that was with the masculine, or it could be you guys as well. I can't say that I've had any issues with infections, but that could be definitely out for the masculine or the feminine. Obviously, it's going to be passed back and forth if you're having sex. Okay. So getting into the masculine read, which was done at 11:57 to 58 a.m. 11 is the Justice, 57 and 58 are the 3 and 4 of Swords. So the three-party heartbreak or separation. Can be healing as well and forgiveness, but also the 58 of the resting, meditation, rising above, levitating. So the levy comes up there again. The wheel, or the great wheel in the Sirian Starseed deck. The Ascension card, which is the world. The guidance card, which is like the Hierophant. And then before the read was abundance, which is like the Empress. And then after the read was Luna, like the moon. So here, this card over here, since you can't see them, this is that abundance card of the Empress, and it looks like an Empress with her heart open wide. This is the Queen of Wands, though. Okay, that could definitely be the mother and daughter team of the karmic, or the masculine's mother and sister. That could be as well. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune there, the Destiny card, the Great Wheel. So getting into this, it was all about nature on the code line. So the message here, be natural, and nature and green. And you can see there's green to purple. So it's definitely getting heart to third eye here, or even crown. But the upper chakra stuff was coming up. But besides the solar plexus, since those 3 yellow cards also came out, and it came out in other ways today. So regarding nature, the numbers and everything else that came up here, there were 4 wands, 1 pentacle, 3 cups. So it's mostly wands. There were no swords in the masculine's read today, which is great, out of their head. The King of Pentacles was there, and I was getting, today, I never got this before, but I'm getting him, you might be able to see it right here, all right, with a grill on, you know, like Jaws from James Bond, which also came up in the read. So somebody's going to the dentist, and I actually have a dentist appointment on the 23rd, and that's the King of Wands, okay, but this is the King of Pentacles there. So the King of Pentacles was the only one in the read, but before the read was the Queen of Wands, and after the read was the Page of Cups. 1111 came up, 66, 777, so there was 3 sevens in the read today. The sequence 6789. 968 came up on the code line, as well as 23 again for the King of Wands. So we have the King of Pentacles and the King of Wands here. 967 also came up, 967 and 968. And 16, which is the Tower, 17, the Star, 67, the Knight of Pentacles, 68, the Page of Pentacles, and 69, the Ace of Pentacles. So we have Justice, Tower, Star, the Knight of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles. So it could be 2 kids, or the masculine and the feminine, with the opportunity to come together or make an offer. And then the Ace of Pentacles of the offer of a new life. So there was, and then it was at 12:21 when I wrote new life. So it was very significant here, 12:21, because that's the end of karma, right? 12:12:21. So the code line, all about nature. Sassy and sissy were coming up, and sissy could be someone being called a sissy, but it also can, so bullying came up as well. It could be, you know, as a sister whose nickname is Sissy, or somebody else whose name is Sissy. But sassy and sissy coming up, as well as the Hermit, the Knight of Pentacles, and alternating currents of crystals, the crystalline bodies. Also crystals come up, and acing the eye dance naturally. Okay, so coming together naturally and being alone again naturally as well, but always allowing things to occur naturally. Sammy Sosa came up. He was born 11/12/68. I think that was his birth, yeah. In People.com, his son, who had been 21 at the time, his namesake, Junior, was a major league ball prospect, but was bullied as a child. So bullying was coming up after his father was accused of using performance-enhancing drugs as a player. So Sammy Sosa had been Texas Rangers and Chicago Cubs. So we have the Rangers and the Cubs. So now you have the Forest Rangers, the landlords of the Cubs. So again, the landlord and the tenants are coming up. You know, how the landlord abuses their power. The Rangers abusing their power over Cubs or Bears. So that might be significant. There's a lot of stuff about animals today coming up. They want us to, I guess, find the causes that we align with to support. So that's important, because when you're in the spotlight, it's going to be important that you use that wisely to help animals. So then I was getting the sassy 9, which would be the collective consciousness, but I was getting specifically the feminine collective consciousness, the Sophia 9. But the sassinine, like, so the sassy asinine, the lovers, the feminine within the masculine, is the air conditioning or the alternating current of energy flow of the crystalline body, acing as one dance naturally as you come together. Okay, so energetically and when you physically come together, the feminine naturally cools off the masculine. And that's your energy. You know, you both have the masculine and feminine. So when you're too hot, you use your feminine to cool you off, and vice versa. Sassy hermit and the chariot to AC and DC was coming up. So that's Atlantic City and Washington, DC. So they were coming up as significant. To follow, I lead naturally. Follow my lead. Okay, so the feminine's basically telling the masculine, follow my lead. Because it's definitely the collective of the feminine as opposed to the masculine. And the chariot, so in boldly going forward to Atlantic City and DC, and that can represent the alternating currents and other things that come up for you specifically, but also Washington, DC, to follow their lead naturally. So that's kind of interesting that that was coming up. Okay, I think I got everything there. As we turn the page, it's 1222, because we just gotten 1221 as far as starting the new life. From the cards in the deck, Justice, the Tower, Sudden Events, the Star of your dreams, the Knight of Pentacles, and Page of Pentacles. Who are the loyal servants with opportunity and invitations and research and know-how, wanting to learn, with the Ace of Pentacles offering up brand new life. A big gold coin. At 1222, which is now the Fool, and I told you in one of the decks the Fool was reversed. The pages were all upright except for the underlying energy. The Page of Pentacles was reversed there, but he's upright too. He or she was upright in the main part of the read. It was just reversed there, which we'll get to in a second. The destiny of the abundance, the abundance, which is transmutation of the physical body, and the Empress, which is Gaia, also abundance in general, and the feminine, who is empowered, and it can represent women who are in power as well, for the good or for the bad. The Queen of Wands and the Empress steal downloads to make money was coming up here. So some of the karmics and their mothers, or a sister and a mother of the masculine, may be stealing downloads from the feminines online to make money for themselves. Judgment, announcement, call to action, a wake-up call, with the Page of Swords up to bat, up to plate, ready to hit a grand slam out of here, turning the world on its ear. The Knight of Wands is taking off, back after hearing the news today. Oh boy. The Sun hits it out of here with his play-by-play, backwards announcement. Going back to go forward. The momentum builds up. Okay? So the Emperor offers passionate new beginning to a Page of Pentacles. They may be lowballing their first offer. So this is for you young people out there looking for a job, or even the masculines, the older masculines. If you're in the market for a new job, there's definitely a big opportunity coming up for some here, where they're lowballing on the first offer. And don't forget, we're in the retrograde, so don't jump to take the first offer. They will offer again, not knowing what they'll accept. And you're going to be making them crazy, but they will wake up and face explosions on media. They want the exposure of a big organization where someone made magic for them. So different big organizations were coming up here. I was definitely getting organizations like Penn, the bridges, the overpasses, and the ships coming in. Feeling a magnetic pull up for the masculines, like literally feeling their head being pulled up magnetically with new ideas. DNA doctor, Jesus, or in other words, the Grand Master, Jesus. And okay, so Sammy Sosa was coming up here, but I was relating this to that. The Grand Master Jesus was coming up, but then they were showing me Jesus, so the Hispanic population, but also it breaks down. If you spell it phonetically, it's Hey Zeus. All right, so then Jesus is bringing Zeus in here. So the Grand Master Jesus, Hispanic, is Hey Zeus. So that was kind of cool. One with the idea, the other with tools, and backing between them. So big establishment backing for two people with a good idea, and then the other one with the tools. The dad and there was some information I'd given to a friend since I worked in the medical system a long time ago, and I get downloads. I'll send some of the things actually to one of my nephews, and then I have called friends thinking there was something very important they needed to know. Whether they take my information seriously or not is a whole nother story, but I have been giving it out, whether, not caring about the outcome. But I was getting that something I told someone might actually be panning out right now. So that's kind of cool. So don't be afraid to put your information out there, even if they think you're crazy, because later on it will probably pan out, okay? If you're getting downloads, you should pass them on. And you may actually be surprised one day and get credit for it. It may even come with some money. So something comes up, surgical tools, cooking came up, and I was getting the company cook because I'm affiliated with them from when I worked. So, but something being cooked up, so a lot of people cooking in the kitchen, but there's something regarding that for you guys as well. So however it resonates with you, that's the way it needs to come up for you. So something comes up, surgical tools, something is up, or someone's invention is out, or someone is maybe calling you and letting you know that what you told them is panning out, and for good exposure. Maybe they want you because they want the exposure from you because you're good advertising too. So again, the tools, the magic, the genius, taking a leap of faith, lucky leprechaun, the Hierophant, establishment, religious leader, Taurus, brother or twin, with bowl cut or balding spot middle of their head, like the monks, the Beatles, Sri Lanka, Monkees. And that was at 12:47, which is the Seven of Cups and the Hangman. And the lights flickered at that moment. Okay, so again, that was coming up. To put out your downloads without worrying about the outcome. Take a leap of faith. Lucky leprechaun. The Hierophant, the establishment, religious leaders, Taurus, brother or twin, with bowl cut or balding spot in the middle of their head, which we just talked about with reference to the monks, the Beatles, and the Monkees, and the Sri Lanka Monkees. Connected to the Queen of Wands looking back, or going back openly, the Hierophant, Emperor, and Justice cards, which I showed you yesterday. Here they come, walking down the street. All right, so that's coming up for, the power players. The Queen of Wands, out of control, Leo and or ego, of Emperor or Father, perhaps. Definitely with energies, if you scratch mine, I'll scratch your back. Claw is more like it. Okay, so this is between the Queen of Wands and the Emperor. But the Leo energy is, the strength energy is reversed. So there's definitely, weakness here. But Claw is more like it. Thatcher came up. Attila, the hen, was one of the nicknames she had. So this is coming up for this person. That bloody woman, or TBW, these are some of Thatcher's nicknames. The great she-elephant, an allusion, so that could reference Republican as well, an allusion to Rudyard Kipling's Just So stories. And I was getting the Just So was connecting to Tommy Sosa, or not Tommy, but Sammy Sosa, but I was getting Tommy Sosa. There was a movie where no one who knew who Sosa was, that might have been Tommy Sosa, because it was an imaginary person who didn't exist, but it was like a big crime boss that nobody knew. So if you know what I'm talking about, put the name below, because I can't remember if that was it or not. But Just So stories, the grocer's daughter, Iron Lady, still talking about Thatcher, and then Madame Frit also. A female in power like the emperor, or the lady who's over the emperor shows the emperor to be weak. The man does not like to be shown up by the Queen of Wands, or Leo, Queen. Or daughter, or Leo, takes over for the emperor because he's getting weak. Fill in my shoes temporarily, you owe me one. Long tail that comes back with black cat, panther or jag, not the lion, but acts like king of the jungle. aligning herself with the patriarchy of the Emperor, Hierophant, and Justice in her pocket. A businessman or politician, a priest, and a judge. So someone's got those three in their pocket, and that's why they get a lot of business or whatever it is. That's coming up for somebody's karmic for sure. Worth waiting for, and that can be a mother figure of the karmic or the masculine as well. But someone's got someone in their pocket. You know, they're definitely scratching at each other's backs. When I was writing all this down, I also was getting Ma again. Ma, M-A, mask, and spots, because 101, the time came up again for the 101 Dalmatians. This is Cruella de Vil, who tells all of her 101 dogs, her children, to go fetch, do, you know, what I went over yesterday. Cruella de Vil, I never remember how to say her name, but this was very important. And this need for the masculines especially, you need to know this information, and it could be you as well, all right? And maybe you got sucked into the situation. It wasn't you who did it, but now you kind of are affiliated because of the other person who did it. Worth waiting for came up for the masculine, and underneath that was heart-to-heart conversations. And that was at 104, which is the Magician and the Emperor again. So big, powerful people. The Emperor being the businessman, politician, and of course the Hierophant, the priest or powerful religious leader, and then the Judge is the Justice card. Okay. So as we turn the page, worth waiting for in heart-to-heart conversations were the romance underlying energy cards, romance angels. It was 105. 1 is the Magician and 5 is the Hierophant and change. Justice split away from the Emperor and the Hierophant. So here we have 3 power players where the Justice card is splitting away from the other 2 because he doesn't want to be associated with them. The King of Cups out being seen as a loving man for good exposure, right? But it's not real. Again, fabrication was coming up here. Red hair, and that can reference to Trump too. Red hair and or beard. The Queen of Pentacles is also out, coming out. It's her coming out party, literally. So it could be a younger person, or she's coming out of the closet. But a coming out party, or coming out about her crown, her royalty, or coming out about her mastectomy, or trying to hide it, struggling since her surgery. Or the King of Cups, who's reversed, and Queen of Pentacles are out making appearances, together for show only, but not really together. Lots of underlying tension between them. Cheating or theft between them, or gangrene, diabetes, elitism, no longer acceptable for some reason. So someone might have gotten sick and now they're no longer acceptable to the karmic because they no longer can keep up to their standards. Staging a ruse or a sting, misled by fake impression like an illusionist, the Magician. Using royal blue fluffy curtains to mask gangrene drapes or apes. Not expressing true passions about inflamed DNA. And that can be a STD. Passion fruit, temptation, lovebirds in royal blue coats masking their true colors, not really talking. Stealing backstage passes, illegal connections, using insincerity to get behind the scenes gossip. And then 818 came up. Crazy apes. I was just getting crazy grapes as well. So the grapevine, going nuts. Crazy apes and crazy eights, right? For the 8 Lions gates, that refers to the angels. But crazy apes having to do with Neanderthal man, right? And so the patriarchy that, you know, we don't want to be here anymore because they're you know, old Neanderthal ways. But the 818 is referring to the 88 of the masculine and the feminine with a thorn in their side between them. The altar of the 3 candles with love in the middle, or rather a big gold coin to get on the red carpet, manifesting a new life of being seen and heard, the artificial flame, or in other words, the karmic, the moon, the false light. One who just wants to be seen alongside of the rich and famous. Prison of not expressing true feelings. The hype, the media, the advertisement. Performances not labeled as such. So with TV, you know it's not real, so it's okay. But we're talking about people who lie to give themselves or their product hype or media. Getting a handle on the truth of sex lies and videotapes, sleeping with the boss to get ahead, selling soul to the devil, not all it's cracked up to be. Patience comes up for the masculine, number 2, which is the high priestess, and then beneath that was pride. So again, the Leo comes up, the king of the jungle, the 19 of the sun, exposing all. So remember, when you're that famous, you can't have any secrets because they're all going to ding them up on you. It's not as charmed a life as it seems, right? The dark magician out manipulating, stinger in hand, while he's distracting, another is stealing out the door with the goods, sleight of hand. A shift of fate, tag team illusionists could leave the state and get away with it at night. Or opportunist with feathers and plumes, peacock staring him down, defenseless to energetic and attacks from others at full moon or just at night, when 2 dogs howl, and I was getting Thurston Howe, the Howes, Thurston Howe the third, so the very wealthy. When 2 dogs howl, and then we get Metatron and Michael, and 3 dog night, Mama told me not to come, that was 1970. Tick-tock, tick-tock, the lobster looks like a crab. Someone has crabs from sex last night. Beady red eyes and inner workings. Cha-ching! At night, when all the world's asleep, the questions run so deep for such a simple man. A child of bullying by attack dogs. Told would get STDs as a child, that would turn him purple, inflamed, diseased bad boy who brought home crabs. So someone might have experienced that as a young teenager or something and were very much shamed for it. And maybe everyone told the whole school, so that would be very humiliating for a child. 141 is the magician and the ace of cups, which is new love, self-love, spiritual love. So definitely STTs are coming up as people getting them right now, but also about the wounds of having experienced that as a child and being shamed for it, or just a mother who shamed you before anything ever happened to keep you safe, but really to keep you under their thumb and under their control, scaring the crap out of you with lies, basically, that weren't true. The Emperor and Empress were both upright today. It's the Fool. Yeah, the Fool was reversed in both places. The Magician was upright, though. Magician was very powerful today. I was getting the Emperor and the Empress as E and E. And again, like I said, they can always represent the twins. They can represent parents, the masculine and the karmic. They can represent all different couples. The power couples. Okay, so we had, and also older couples. So the kings were all reversed today, guys. Masculines, the patriarchy is falling today. Today, all the queens were upright except for the Queen of Cups. She was reversed because she's being over emotional or crying or purging. The knights were all upright except for the Knight of Swords, and all the pages were upright. So the queens, pages, and knights were great. It's the masculines who are the issue, and the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Swords. Okay, so you're not coming in with your truth, and instead of being loving and kind and giving and intuitive, you are crying, so you're blocking your abundance. But the masculines are all reversed, but the Emperor and Empress are upright. 142, the Magician and the 42 of the Two of Cups. Emotions run deep for peacock eyes, green feathers and gold plumes. Gangrene, and I was getting gang and Renee or Renee, so that someone might have ganged up on Renee or Renee, or they are the person in the gang who ganged up on somebody else. All right, because of their plumes, they were snobby. They thought they were better than someone else. Gangrene and frog's legs. So Kermie might have been teased as well, and Miss Piggy. And I always call my sister and her husband, I always call them Kermie and Miss Piggy. So that's it was in a very endearing way. But you know how it is with teenagers. So they were teased like frog legs, and then Piggy being overweight. No torch here into this good night. All right, because it was about bullying. Aries upright, Leo reversed, and Taurus upright were right here. The dogs may have gotten the watch or the clock, so somebody might have had their watch or clock stolen, or their time stolen from them, stolen away, like the feminines and the masculines. 3 blind mice. See how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife. She cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did you ever see such a sight in your life as 3 blind mice? So it might have been all the 3 power men who went after the karmic. So now they're all carrying the same STD, and then she's threatening, meanwhile, to do an Elena Bobbitt move on the masculine if he tells anyone, right? Or if he leaves. So this is the crap that the masculine may be going through. And she may literally be threatening to do an Elena Bobbitt, and may have even a knife in the room to make sure he knows. So, you know, can you imagine living like that? It's 146. 1 is the Magician, and 46 is the 6 of Cups. They may also have sex videotapes that they're threatening to use on the masculine if he ever does anything they don't want him to do. Cancer upright, Virgo upright, Gemini upright, Libra reversed, Aquarius upright, and Taurus upright in this section here. Magician ghosts, and the Magician's upright, but in the one deck, he's really creepy in the underlying energy. But in the main read, he's very powerful and strong. So there's 2 different magicians here. One who's bad and one who's good. The Magician is ghosting here. That's first the underlying one, the negative one, who may be old and gray with long hair, but he doesn't look nice either. He's not going to lose his jewels, but this can also represent the masculine ghosting the karmic, because he's not going to lose his jewels, right? And that can have to do with jewels as well. So the power of the music, you know, so that can represent people's albums, their collections, or other kind of music collections, but also jewelry in general, or the crown jewels. So in need of the Magician ghosts is not going to lose his jewels, in need of an assistant who knows his bark is worse than his bite, or that things are just tight right now and won't judge him for it. Under the false light of the full shadowy moon, which is still energized right now, we're only 4 days out, destined in the retrograde to manifest for the Emperor without equal exchange right now, but patient to bring rewards worth waiting for, but it's hard to see right now. All right, so that can definitely be where purse strings are tight. Somebody might be offering something, but they can't pay right now, and it may be, the offer may be fine, but just don't give too much of yourself away, okay? So before I go into recently, I'm going to show you around the board, and then we'll get back to the read. And by the way, today's 7/20/2019, which also rearranges to July 19th, 2020. So that might be significant for somebody. July 19th, 2020. And of course, 2020 vision. So, and of course, 2020 the show as well. So the underlying energy there is that great wheel, which is the destiny, the wheel of fortune. And the recent past is that 8 of flames, which you can't see, but it's like a circle of flames. The foundation here, which is buried underneath, you can't see it at all, which I'm going to pull this up so you can see a little bit. Okay, so you have the 9 of Cups, the High Priestess is reversed, the Moon, but you have the 9 of Cups up right there, as well as the 9 of Wands reversed, and the Justice card. So the Wounded Warrior is reversed. The center of the read is that Ace of Flames, which is like the Ace of Wands. And then the other underlying energies there, you see that Evil Magician there. And as we come across here, crowning is the Ascension card, or the World, which is reversed today. But you see that other Magician there who's a good guy. Then we come across the bridge, clarifying to the near future, which is that Ace of Chalices, or the Ace of Cups, new love. And you see that cup right there, okay, around the Lovers. But the Lovers card's reversed. Doesn't mean it's necessarily negative, just may not be sex or affection going on, okay? Then we have the masculine seeing himself as that 6 of Flames, which is upright, which you see right there. The Romance Angel cards over here. And then around him, or how he may be seen as by others, is that 7 of Cups, okay? Stairway to Heaven. The blocks he needs to clear is that 7 of Flames, or 7 of Wands rising above there. Could be Middle East, you know, belly dancer type stuff energy as well. And then we have the Guidance card, which is the Hierophant, but it's called Guidance in this deck. Then we have the Luna card above that, and the Page of Cups above that. Both of those are upright. And then the 6 of Swords, which is also upright above that, where you just see clear skies, which is very peaceful there. All right, so there's the rest of the clarifiers. And I'm going to get right into the read. Okay, so recently, as I give you more view, let's see here. Okay, so you can see more of the rest of the cards. Recently, the Eight of Flames, I told you it's like the Shutter of the Eye. Shutter Island comes up. And by the way, it was Cancer upright, Aquarius reversed, and Libra reversed in this section. But Island comes up because it is land. Like the Shutter of the Eye, Shutter Island is land. And Islam also came up here. You are the sea. The land is the boundary. Land ho! To contain the emotions into safe harbor. Holding back feelings, not expressing, no heated exchange or poor exchange of money, foreign exchange. There's a bold move to depression, imbalance, and loss of money. Allow the flow. Don't create debt or hold back and be Scrooge. 0 point, moderation, chill. Turning back is like flow of energy in the energy loops. The retrogrades go back, it's like backpedaling in order to gain momentum and going forward again. Allow the fallback to propel forward. Time to ground and integrate, see a new perspective. Grieve, purge to get over guilt, loss, and shame. Regret for a new life offer at work, aligning with your dreams. Depression, just a fallback to inspire an offer of love, to bring him home into safe harbor after long, rough seas. So as somebody could be having their bank account seized or at least frozen and they can't spend any money. So it might, trap them. Their arms are tied. They can't do anything until whatever's going on is over. Foundation also comes up. Libra upright, Cancer upright, and Pisces reversed. Foundation is getting wish, right? It's the Nine of Cups upright. Content with themselves. Illuminates a secret passion that you're happy about, masculine. Still waters run deep. Surrendering to the judge or turning self in. So some of the masculines could be turning themselves in. Or a court clerk out sick and waiting for the final judgment, so it delayed them getting their final paperwork again. Truth and balance, or Libra, as the Queen of Swords speaks their truth again to the King of Pentacles, Akashic Records, and or a grill, or challenged by braces. Or someone gets all their teeth drilled away to points for crowns or rotten teeth or scrapings. So Live and Let Die comes up here. So of course that's Paul McCartney and Wings song. So the wings come up of the angels. Live and let die. Don't try to control other people's lives. They have the right to choose whether they want to live or die. The Uncola Nut, the Voodoo Man, comes up here. He wasn't the one with the grill, but that's Jaws from another James Bond movie. But the Uncola Nut and the Voodoo Man were coming up. Live and Let Die. The other movies that came up here, because Jaws was not in these movies, or maybe the Uncola Nut wasn't in these movies. No, he wasn't those. So Jaws was not in these three movies, which was... some of this information was from BBC.com. Live and Let Die, the Uncola Nut, the Voodoo Man, but Jaws was not in Live and Let Die or Quantum of Solace or Casino Royale, which he was in all the others. No, I'm sorry, that was M. M wasn't in those three movies, which I forget his name, but that's what Bond always calls the other character, just M. But M wasn't in those three movies. So it was important about Live and Let Die, and then Quantum of Solace, because we have the Solace, we have the Quantum Leap and the Soul, and acing the soul, and the Casino, taking a gamble, passing on the downloads of a royal lineage. There was no M in those. No boss. James Bond is the bond you have between you, the 007, and Jaws with the grill, and grilling being done today, and then Jaws. So definitely dentist is coming up here. Jaws died, it was Richard Keel in 1974. That was reported 9/14/2011. I'm sorry, he was 74 years old. And he passed away September 14th, 2011, which was interesting because that's two of my lucky numbers, 9 and 14, but also the day I got my anniversary. So 2011, so that was significant coming up. The Spy Who Loved Me came up also. Moonraker, that was 77 and 79 from BBC.com. Richard Kiel was also in The Twilight Zone, so we're bringing up Jaws because he's getting props here for his acting, because he was well loved. So the turn of the page is 219. That's the High Priestess and the Sun. And by the way, the only ace that was down today was the Wands. The other three aces were up, which is great. The Ten of Pentacles and the Four of Wands, as far as home situations, were both upright, but the Ten of Cups was reversed. The World was reversed, the Lovers were reversed, and the Two of Cups reversed. The Star was reversed, and the Fool. So centrally, the Ace of Wands reversed was in the middle of the read, the only ace that was reversed. Major frustration for the masculine. An opportunity or an invitation or a child researching, discovering about near death, dark nights, or clinging to life, healing. Instead of going forward with full transformation, going back to heal and forgive the situation first. To land in safe harbor, in loving arms. The challenge being the King of Pentacles reversed, and Jaws was coming up here. That's where it looks like Jaws. Monty Python also coming up here. And Python, again, suffocates you to death. I'm also getting Pythagoras and on. Pythagoras, you're on. And mounting. So the Mounties and the Canadians were coming up as well there too, but just mounting, you know, making it funny there. But the suffocating of you, or the drugs that the dentist make you feel suffocated. So a lot of men are scared to go to the dentist. But the King of Wands, that's another wound to clear. Someone going into your mouth and taking your teeth out, because that could have been a punishment in any sort in the past. So the King of Wands, the 23, is reversed, and also the King of Pentacles reversed. The Man of Passion and the Powerful Man are both, sissies in the dentist chair. The Devil looking at knockers is also the Devil Dentist looking at knockers, or claws on the door perched. The Queen of Wands was coming up here with the masculine. So this is the King and Queen of Wands. She's upright, he's reversed. And she's the Devil Woman, Queen of Wands, calling in her dues, right? So I scratch your back, you scratch mine, asking for a favor to knock on the Queen of Swords' door. She says to the King of Wands that the Devil or the Queen of Swords is talking about her. And then I was getting devil inside, every single one of us with the devil inside. Pride, words as weapons, flesh on the mind, live and let die. The Queen of Wands sees the door and the claws. The King of Wands, reversed, sees the knockers and the wood. All in the perspective of the shadow hood. Message of love or friendship to get along at work, that was all. Or third party through work, he says. The Queen of Wands grilling him, and she's coming up as the King of Pentacles reversed. So she's not necessarily upright if she's the King of Pentacles reversed. It's just showing us that she is a female fire sign who acts like the man with the pants, as the King of Pentacles reversed, greedy, grilling him about love at work, causing dissension, while the Queen of Swords is getting over loss and grief at home, a safe harbor, or working from home, 1111 structure. The Queen of Wands is telling the King of Wands, it's like she's talking to you or talking about you, a lover he thought was behind him. The Queen of Pentacles upright, the Queen of Cups reversed. Two sides of her. The bull turns left, but then goes back, filled up from the divine feminine and thinking about giving it now to the karmic again. Went to the gas station to fill up from the feminine, and then safety pin illustration that I showed back in April, I think it was. Sucking it all up and then using it for shadow work now. The Dark Empress, worst, is over, letting the swords out of her back, and this is the Queen of Wands saying to the King of Wands, that's what I get. That's what I get from scratching your back. No longer flirting, the King of Wands says in the 3D, yet he wakes her at night, the Hermit reversed, missing his torch, his flame. No choices, no balance. He must go back for more, clearly still holding on without affection. moving to peace at the full moon, and taking a sip from the Holy Grail due to dark influences, the false light. Burning frustration, even though he thought he left the past behind. Clearly, we're not having sex, and the King of Wands reversed is sexually frustrated and wants romance. He wants an olive branch. Soon is new love, self-love, spiritual love. The Knight of Cups offers love, coming out of isolation, or the light trying to catch up with him. The Queen of Pentacles holding back an announcement, or holding her tongue, grounding and seeing another perspective, but wise administration of a love message. New love, child's love, or puppy love. Or he may be telling the Queen of Wands, it was just someone who had a crush on me. Sudden explosion, event, drama, epiphanies at workplace, or all kicked out so he can have his alone time, his space, his happy place with twin. The Knight of Pentacles and Knight of Cups. Either he sees the Divine Feminine as the Queen of Pentacles, Hermit reversed, Knight of Cups holding on without a word, and or an over-emotional in another world, or world upside down, but still working. And it was 303 to 304 right there. So here again we have the Empress and the Emperor. As I turn the page, 304 and 34 is also that 8 of Wands, the back and forth, but it's not being expressed. So he's seeing her as practical and grounded and offering love, or manipulative and over-emotional, really out there, yet still able to function, to work and be humble. So it's like he's thinking he's looking at the feminine, but he could also be comparing the feminine to the karmic, or he sees his karmic as one and the feminine as the other of those two. Like one really grounded, but offering love, but doesn't know, maybe hasn't had sex with her before, or he doesn't know if she's going to be boring, but is offering her love, and he knows she's stable and she's wise about things, which is what he hates about his karmic, that she's not. Or he could see her as crazy and out of her head, and living in another world, or out of the ballpark, but yet still is working and functioning. So how is that? But he could see the karmic as one and the feminine as the other also. So the Nine of Cups alone at work, with the Queen of Cups reversed, offering work, and the Queen of Pentacles upright, offering love. A bit of arrogance coming off as him, having his cake and eating it too, finding peace with crazy emotional workhorse, but no sex, or the Queen of Pentacles, plain Jane, practical, but stable, offering real love, and doesn't know affection with her, or didn't know she was waiting, holding on, and feeling abused. Alone again, naturally. Okay, so that was coming up for the masculine. The Divine Masculine is getting attention now. Frustration, angry, and tired of running away from himself, or tired of being taken from or taken for granted. Standing up and fending off others, leading the way with no options but war and deception. Everyone wants a piece of him, his attention, not taking no for an answer, just taking as they please. And then he was getting call in your soulmate, playfulness, reconciliation, and deception that someone is wearing a mask in this situation. The war within. Okay, so he's got no options but to be the Five of Swords, right? To stand in his truth and be at war with himself and the others around him, because they're all take, take, take. And he's guarded to the establishment who's trying to take him down or use him. Taurus, Aries, Leo energies were coming up here as using him. The Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, all right? Queen of Pentacles can be, all of the queens can be both the karmics and the feminines. So it just depends on your situation. But here the Queen of Wands is coming up as Queen of Pentacles as well. And the Emperor is coming up as the King of Cups reversed. So you both have reversed energies, because the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles are both upright. But the King of Cups reversed Emperor, that's not good. Although the Emperor is upright, the King of Cups reversed is not. And also the Church or priest is coming up along with that Emperor. So it can be a karmic or a sister or a father or brother stealing from him, and him never saying a word. Like it may even be stuff they're taking and he knows about it, but there may be stuff they're taking he doesn't know about. 2020 hindsight, and this is to the masculine. Are you going to take another year of it to learn to be abused, even worse, and now be dragged into illegal activities? Around the Divine Masculine are how he is seen. 7 steps to heaven. 23, which is the King of Wands, which is the steps 2 and 3, but also half of step 5, which is half of a marriage, and then 6 and 7, the lovers, and the chariot, the warrior chariot. For him, that's the last step, to take what he wants and not hold back. No more conflict or quest. With letting go of alcohol, parties, social life, gossip, whatever, drugs, addictions, third parties, antisocial behavior, all part of step 4, which is all about stability and structure in order to get to the half of 5, stability in order to handle the freedom that he is given. Letting all burdens go, confessing is step 1, acceptance that you can't do or be at all for everyone. You are here to be you only, authentically, no strings attached to that movie's coming up then, just allowing others to love you, just as you are. Clear blocks of rising above the heat, the drama, and taking flame with you to dance. Tango, radiate your love power. Seeing you a mile away, synchronicities and heaven in their eyes. Potluck surprise, but surprisingly good and tasty. Just not working out with family or legacy, just overworked and can't focus, trapped by family pressure to become a polished diamond, and luxuries and activities you're expected to provide, but suddenly explosion, an event, drama, pop top, lid, crown, cover is blown. Epiphanies out everywhere. At work, opened a can of worms with radiation or mold or other issues. Noble work destroyed. Somebody might even be working on a Nobel Peace Prize. But somehow, all of that happened, and he's discovering, I'm happy alone. That was at 333. And how did we start out this read? 333, 369. Nature came up for him, but even more so. Change and teaching and learning, and home depression. 333. We turn the page. It's 333 to 34. The Christ vibration to the 8 of Wands, and the need to express your feelings and let it out. Marriage, commitment, establishment, church, society, tradition, patriarchy, Taurus. Guide, dance, guidance, counseling, wanting to romance the masculine and extend an olive branch. Frustrated, and his world is incomplete without the Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Cups reversed, rising. The best of both worlds, humble and loyal, loving and wise, and loves me like crazy without the drama of the karmic. Hierophant, guide, dance. Heroes, gamos. Not war games, but heroes games. Taking love from the traditional and hitting it out of this world to infinity and beyond, past the moon and back. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. But I was getting, hit the road, Jack a lantern. Or in other words, levy some light. And don't you come back no more. Dancing in the moonlight every day, inspired to give his gold coin back to himself, and thus his twin. The Cancer moon inspired new life, the Page of Wands offering new life and or money to right his wrongs and turn him upright again with blueberry branch as opposed to olive. Page of Cups with heart cracked wide open, puppy love of Page of Wands and Page of Cups, and I was getting a purr because I couldn't understand the way I wrote Page of Wands. It looked like purr. So it's about being a kitten as opposed to a cat. Page of Cups with heart cracked wide open, wide, puppy love of the Page of Wands and the Page of Cups, the children in the garden, in a boat, finding peace together. And that was 345, so 345, and 346. 45 is the 5 of Cups. It's about passing on the baton from the third to the fourth leg of the race, and 3-4, and the Empress and the Emperor kept coming up today. And then 46 is the children in the garden, truly being their authentic selves with each other. Rest in peace. Love offered, but lacked faith. Allowing the fall this time to start over with the big one this time. New love, impatient to end family cycle, frustrated and moving to peace, but disconnected and not expressing feelings, no heated exchange, with devil waves, the King of Cups reversed, tripping up to break patterns and drop the facade. The Empress offers truth to purge and break. Truth can be draining and even sickening, but afterward, sovereignty is worth the purge. Prisoner of abandonment, or in other words, the homeless, which is another cause to support, get people off the street. They have nowhere to go. But allow people to choose for themselves. There are some who want to be homeless, and let them be. I used to run into that when I'd give out food on Thanksgiving. I would make a turkey, because I'm vegetarian, and I would make a turkey in the morning and stuffing, and just get all the Chinese containers I could and take it downtown, and we just drive around the streets and give it out to homeless people on Thanksgiving. And they were, most of the people are very grateful. There's always that one who's not even really homeless. They just might be schizophrenic and want to be out there, or the one who's on drugs or alcohol where they just want money for that stuff. Or there was one guy who didn't want the food for himself. He just wanted it for his dog, and he was actually under a lean-to he had made by the post office, so that was kind of cool. So that's another thing that's coming up for attention. The Empress and the Sovereign, who are both coming up as, single, powerful women, young and old, in their power, sick of the truth, or just sovereign sick of the Empress's truth, so that can be a mother and daughter, who need to get over themselves or each other. And they're sick of purging, so they're just refusing, right? Because they're above that. Or it can just be showing you in your power and how two powerful women can actually get along really well. But the sun was coming up reversed, so really between these two, they were draining each other and making each other sick. That can be the feminine and the karmic as well, but it's definitely coming up as a mother and daughter as well. Released on their own recognizance. So someone may have been in prison, or a prison of their own making, and now they can be released on their own cognizance because the masculine is releasing them to being homeless, and it's your choice what you do with it. And that can be a karmic and a daughter. It could be an older daughter who's, being a pain in the butt, or just, spoiled and thinks they deserve whatever they want. So can be homeless if you choose to, homeless and abandoned. So those are the wounds to clear. And the masculine at 355, which is the Empress and the 55 of the Ace of Swords, and their truth, saying, I can be bad all by myself without that. So that's the read for you guys. I guess I'm going to stop here because it's already at 1 hour and 26. I hope you appreciate that. A lot of good information came up there. Let me know what resonates with you. So there's important illegal stuff going on that needs to be brought up into the light. So please confirm what you know, as well as anything that has to do with the safety of other people. Not in a mean or vicious way. It's just about revealing the truth in a calm, kind, loving way. Okay? Water, rest, joy, love,